Welcome all, my name is Bruno Marin. I'm a student from the Audiovisual Communication degree at the Camilo José Cela University. And today we are here with a new episode of the podcast Global Education Forum, Education Shaping the Future, Keeping Us Human. By my side is George Siemens, a prominent educator and researcher known for pioneering connectivism, a theory of learning for the digital age, and for his work in exploring the intersection of artificial intelligence and education. Welcome, Mr. Siemens.
Welcome, pleasure to be here.
As you know, today we're here to talk about artificial intelligence and its impact in education. And to begin with, I want to do a question for you. In what specific ways can artificial intelligence enhance personalized learning experiences for students?
Well, there's a few ways of looking at it. One is the short-term impact. And I think short-term, we're already starting to see a growing number of universities and startups and even big tech providers like Microsoft and Google starting to serve more of a supporting role by a tutor or a type of an agent that can help students start to interact with ideas and content. So more of an AI companion. Not necessarily changing the learning experience, but just giving students extra support. So they might help summarize documents. It might help provide a bit of an overview of key concepts in a module that they're learning and so on. I think in the long run, though, the bigger impact is going to be around these growing suite of AI technologies as being an active, ongoing co-thinker with us. In this sense, AI isn't just a tool that we use, but it actually becomes part of our cognitive system. And so the bigger impact that has, it causes us to question what's the value of our existing curriculum process. If you have to take a course, watch a video, click next, watch that, go forward, how does that get changed when you have AI as a prominent agent? Or if you're a student in a regular traditional university where you're taking course materials in a classroom, why do we need to keep the focus on the content? Maybe we should start spending more time focusing on the interaction between human and machine and humans, meaning that we focus less on the specific skills or concepts to be learned, because those will always be accessible through our AI co-thinker, and spend more time developing those soft or future skills that we need to collaborate and work well with others.
That's really interesting. And I mean, the soft skills is something that started to be talked a while ago, 5-6 years, and now it's kind of rising in its popularity. But what challenges do you think that might arise in this AI path that we're going to follow for the next years?
Well, there's going to be important questions around what does it mean to be human? Like, what parts of the AI process should we not have AI take over? Or which parts of the learning process do we want to keep under human control? And so I think that's a really big question that we're unclear on. We know there's going to be a number of harmful societal effects, propaganda, the use of fake images, the use of misinformation, the ability to flood an ecosystem with AI-generated text very rapidly, I think, is another one to think through. So there's a lot of societal level concerns that could be generated through AI. But at the same account, I think there's also an opportunity for us to educationally balance those, which is why I keep emphasizing that we need to build capabilities of individuals to do more than just learn and memorize. They have to be critical thinkers. They have to be able to anticipate implications of current trends. They have to know how to work with and function well in these distributed environments. So the biggest harms of AI, though, are certainly at that propaganda systems level impact, where we don't know what it means from a human lens. Do we end up losing a lot of our autonomy? Do we end up basically, for lack of a better word, becoming reliant on AI to such a degree that we start to lose some core key human skills ourselves? Is it dehumanizing and so on? So I think all of those taken together still find their solution at its core at an educational response.
It's kind of a tricky world that we're going in because of all the dehumanization we could have maybe. But it's true that also we could maybe be more human, have more time for us, maybe because of this tool we can handle time more efficiently. But it's kind of difficult to know what's going to happen, and also how are, for example, teachers going to be in the future because of AI. Nowadays, many people are questioning their role, and I want to know your opinion about this.
Well, the teaching profession is definitely going to change, because if you look at right now, if some of the low-level tech tools, like, we've been using ChatGPT a lot, and by low-level, I mean tools that we as individuals, anybody can use and start working with. There's issues of hallucination, there wrong information being created, and so on. There are some worrying concerns about mental health-wise that we'll start to use them, and some people rely on them as companions, like almost a personal relationship. So that's a challenge as well. But I think for teachers, it's a fantastic tool to have at your fingertips for students, for teachers, to be able to reduce lesson planning times, generate creative ideas for classroom activities, for students to start a draft of a paper and have 20% of it created by AI, the rest they have to edit and improve and so on. So I really think there's a net positive for how teachers will use AI if it's well planned and well deployed. And those will be to help people be more creative, be more productive, and have more capabilities in general. I think we sometimes overlook that some of the skills that we might have, let's say writing in our native language, English or Spanish or Japanese or Chinese. When someone comes in from another country, a barrier to them succeeding is perhaps not being natively familiar with the language. If we can take students and eliminate some of those barriers and equalize the learning playing field, or that could be a fantastic benefit to second language speakers. Or if we have individuals that are neurodivergent, maybe there are ways that they can use AI to better understand certain concepts or processes. So I think that's the real opportunity from a teaching perspective. It's a way to level and normalize the playing field so everyone has similar opportunities.
Now that you mentioned some uses of this artificial intelligence and some programs, the basic ones, I want to know which ones do you usually use, simple and more complex maybe, and in what aspects of your daily life?
So one thing that I always tell colleagues and friends is that you should play with AI every day, like intentionally. Like AI is in the background. If you're using, a map to navigate a city, or digitally Google Maps or Apple Maps or something, AI is already there. If you're reading your email, machine learning models are sorting and deciding what's spam and what's not. So what I mean is intentionally use AI. You decide to use it to solve a problem or a task. So that's my motto, is play with AI every day. And so the tools, anything that comes up that's interesting, we all use, ChatGPT or Cloud 3, or you might use music apps like Suno, or you might start playing with tools that help to integrate with other tools, so that, like Zapier or other automation tools. The real point of that engagement is that you start to find out, what does AI do well and what doesn't it? AI is great as an early brainstormer, but to give it your personal, instead of writing an article, but to give it your personal look and feel, you have to go through the process of editing and improving. There's a new tool I was playing with yesterday called Eraser, which is a tool that allows the creation of diagrams. Technical diagrams, rather than having to spend a lot of time drawing everything out. You give it a prompt and describe it, and it'll produce the diagram. That's just a quick example. Lucid Charts, another one, similar, to create images that you're trying to communicate ideas. So anything that's related to image, to language, to audio, to video, to avatars, HeyGen or other tools like that. But those tools are all irrelevant, because some will make it, but some in 6 months' time will be history, because something better will have come along. So the reason to play with AI regularly isn't to get comfortable with a particular tool. It's to get comfortable with the idea that there is a type of an intelligence that can make us more capable, and our intent is to engage with and use that intelligence in our personal daily lives. So I would say I'm constantly, daily, signing up for a new tool, trying a new approach with a different tool. Simple things like you find an image and you ask Cloud or ChatGPT-3 to explain it. Does it understand jokes? If it's a funny joke, what does it mean? Can it interpret that for you? Can it summarize a long PDF? Can it make sense of it? Can it take a video and give you the salient points that you need to understand? I mean, these are all functional activities with AI that have one goal, from my perspective, which is to get comfortable working, thinking, learning, and living with a type of an intelligence that's different than human intelligence.
That's a really interesting approach to artificial intelligence, because it's true that when you go into a new program, you don't really know how to use it. You don't know how to talk to it, because it's like a partner at work. It's like a colleague. And it's true that we need to work on it, to try new things, maybe say, okay, we can do this, we cannot do this. And you were mentioning that, for example, instead of drawing graphics, now you have tools that do it for you in a couple of seconds. And if we extrapolated that to kids, for example, do you think that could affect their creativity or potentiate it?
I think it will make them more creative. So, for example, there's a growing movement in AI. The term is like English is the world's hottest programming language, just because it's a common language, commonly used, and it could be other languages as well. So I'm not trying to be too English egotistical, but the point is, let's say you're a creative person, but you didn't learn how to write code, or you don't know how Python programming works, but you know what you want. You're creative enough to have a novel, interesting idea, but the barrier is a technical layer. So I think AI will make us more creative, because it will allow someone who is a creative person but doesn't have technical skills to still produce, say, code. There's an interesting tool out recently called Devin, which was sort of an agent that would help do some rudimentary tasks and automate tasks for people. So what if you're, let's say, a designer, and you've got an interesting idea for what you might want as a website? What if instead of spending weeks, months developing that website, whatever has to happen, back end, front end, pulling it together and then making a functionally site, what if you could just sit down and describe to AI what you want the site to look like, what the functionality should be, describe the logo, AI generates it, you revise it, AI generates it, you revise it. So my expectation is that AI will produce an explosion of creativity.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach, because if you think it's that way. For example, I've used it to code some things, and that I had for class. For example, I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how. Or for example, when I had to do an Excel, I knew that I wanted some kinds of presets, but I didn't know exactly. And if you talk to artificial intelligence, it tells you you learn with it, and it gives you sometimes good information, sometimes bad. You tell it, okay, this is not good. This is not the way my program works, and it helps you. You tell it, and at that point, it starts to do it the way you want it to do it. Another question I want to know what you think about it. It's how would you implement artificial intelligence if you were a student nowadays?
I mean, if I was a student, it's a golden age to be learning, and it really has been for the last 30 years. Like, the internet has been an amazing learning system for people to sort of get on top of that process of learning and engagement. I would argue, or I would suggest, as a student, use every tool at your fingertip. Like, don't pass off AI-generated content as your own, but use AI to start the creative process. Use AI to start your draft. Use AI to talk to it. Let's say if you have a paragraph that you can't quite get right in an essay, use AI to help you rewrite it and make sense of it. That should still be your ideas, but use it in every capability. If you're a computer science student, there's Copilot and coding agents that you can use and work with. Use them. Be better, be smarter, work faster, be more productive, save more time for yourself, for your personal interests, and so on. So as a student, I would just say, anytime you have a task or an activity that you're engaging in, your first question shouldn't be, how should I solve this problem? Your first question should be, how can I use AI to solve this problem? And again, not passing it off as your work, but actively engaging with it as a co-thinker. I believe that AI is a type of an alien intelligence. It's an intelligence nonetheless. And people who learn how to work well with it and create with it are going to be well ahead of people who haven't learned the benefits and the limitations of AI.
I think that's a wonderful way to end this episode of the podcast, and thank you so much for being here and giving us your opinion.
All right, thank you.